Good. Very good. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Ridgewood Village Council. This is a public workshop. The date is July 6, 2022, and the time is 7:30 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law of a schedule, including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Reynolds.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Seaton.
Here.
Councilman Vagianos.
Here.
And Mayor Knudsen.
Here. Please join us for the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join us in a moment of silence for all those victims of the unspeakable violence of July 4th. Thank you. With that, we will go to public comment, not to exceed 3 minutes per person for a total of 40 minutes. Please remember to state your full name and address for the record, and make sure that microphone is on. Charlie. Yep, you're good.
Thank you. Charles Riley, 448 North Maple Avenue. Good evening, and it's pleased to be with you tonight. I'm here to express my concern for the reduction in the hours at the Graydon Pool. As you, I'm sure, all agree, the Graydon Pool is a wonderful facility and a gem for the village of Ridgewood. Anytime you go by there today on a warm day, you'll see many residents, children, grandchildren, and others frolicking and having a wonderful time in what has been a well-managed facility for many, many years. I understand the concern is, to some extent, the reduction or the inability to obtain lifeguards as one issue. Bottom line, I think really the issue is money and whether we can appropriate the funds necessary to attract lifeguards. Perhaps we can take a page from New York City, which today increased the salaries for lifeguards and provide bonuses in order to attract more lifeguards to the facilities in New York City. I believe the lifeguards are out there. I think there's programs that can be made or provided to train more lifeguards. My 3 daughters were swim team coaches and were lifeguards, mainly at Primus Pool, but also in the Graydon Pool when they were younger. And certainly for college students and others who can be trained to be lifeguards, the salary is an important factor. And I think particularly I'm concerned that even now that there's a shortage of hours or cutback in hours, and that'll become more acute as the summer progresses in the August days. And unfortunately, historically, over Labor Day weekend, there's a severe cutback in the number of hours, typically, again, for the reason of the lack of lifeguards. But again, I believe the real issue is it's a budgetary issue, and I can hope you can do your best to find the money to attract very competent lifeguards so we keep this facility in active use. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie.
Good evening. My name is Susan Shriver. I live at 52 Warren Place. I was here 2 weeks ago talking about the lifeguard situation, and I'm here again to talk about the lifeguard situation. I did hear on the news today that Mayor Adams did raise the salaries for New York City lifeguards to $19 an hour, 19 and some change an hour. I think he also mentioned training and perhaps cutting the amount of time it takes to train a lifeguard. But this training in New York is different than the training here. We all understand that here it covers a little bit more hours. So I'm lucky because I swim from 6 to 7, and they have kept the deep end open for us. But what saddens me is one day I saw a couple come in. They had a little child, and probably after work, and they couldn't. The parents could go in the water, but the child could not. There's also some confusion over whether people can sit on the beach. I don't know. They say you can use the patio to eat, but everybody clears the beach, okay, at 6 o'clock. So that bothered me because I think the hours really affect the working people of the town and other towns who use the pool. They can't get there before 5, okay? And they do express their concern about that. As pointed out before, the pool is a wonderful place for people to relax. We need that more than ever. We need to, talk, socialize, have fun, be with our families. And people feel like, I think they seem very sad to me when they leave at 6 and I'm walking up the stairs. What are the solutions? I'll talk real fast because I know I don't have much more time. It is a short season. Please consider a raise for a range of salary. Make sure that when the advertisements do go out for next year, that people see the salaries, see numbers. Because if you're trying to appeal to a high school student or a young adult, they may not ask questions, It's too vague. It's too much of a mystery. A range. And, of course, also survey. Maybe do a survey. Ask the lifeguards now to answer questions anonymously about what they think about lifeguarding at Graydon. What are the good parts? What are the parts that they're not crazy about? Let's get a survey and discuss some of these issues. Also talk to coaches. Ridgewood High School has a swim team. Let's get in touch with the coaches. Other high schools have swim teams. I work for a school that has a swim team. And I talked to the coach, and I'm done. But those were some of my suggestions.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Oops. Lori Howard, 218 North Maple, and I've been at Graydon for over 30 years. And I was the former swimming director at South Orange Municipal Pool. So I know a little bit about pools, and I agree with what Sue mentioned about it's very sad at the pool to watch people who can't go in the water sometimes. But I'm going to get a little more philosophical, if you will. The openness of Graydon Pool in the heart of the village is really a welcome testament to the natural beauty of our village and to the recreational water access to swimming and a beach during the summer. Not to mention that Graydon...
Lori, I'm sorry. Could you talk a little bit louder? I'm not sure, but I'm having trouble.
I was just about to say the same.
Can't hear it?
Just a little bit louder.
Okay.
Maybe just into the mic.
Oh,
The
well, I
if you
thought
get
it was too close. Okay.
Yeah.
In the post-COVID times of inflation and recession, the villagers appreciate the efforts the village is making to keep Graydon operational as best as possible. Graydon Pool operated beautifully during COVID and was a godsend for many. We understand the present difficulties of securing lifeguards for the pool's operation. And yes, qualified guards are now at a premium. The Village Council must allocate increased salary funding and incur incentives that are above the average babysitter hourly rate of $20 these days. Why? Because our kids really need activity and interaction with their peers. We all do. 2 years of masks and shutdowns for our children have disrupted their lives on so many levels, and that includes learning to swim. And there's a real need for more swimming instruction. I see it every day. And we must recruit lifeguards early by showing them that we have a positive environment here where they can work. The village now has the opportunity to improve Graydon attendance and participation as people are ever more grateful for outdoor public engagement, and we need it for our mental and physical health as well. Let's evaluate the pool's management structure so that it's most efficient and considerate of the public, as that is the key to Graydon's future. The recreational support staff, while young, is very impressive in that they are customer-friendly and always helpful at Graydon, but the entire pool team must perform cohesively as well. Planning for next year should really begin now, not next spring, so that we learn from the present situation on how best to serve Graydon customers, from those relaxing on the beach to active swimmers, from adults to toddlers. For example, we're losing patrons because current pool restrictions are making it difficult for some people to come to Graydon in the evenings after work. Others cannot see their kids swim at all after their workday, as they're told they cannot even sit on the beach after 6 p.m. And then there are the new families that are coming in whose kids can't wait to pass the deep water test, but they need more lessons and they need more time. Let's face it, our masked youth lost a solid 2 years of activities, and so more kids do need to learn how to swim. Swimming is a safety skill that Ridgewood should aggressively promote.
All right.
Just in finishing the summer, the council must lead and take initiative to be prepared for next year.
Thank you, Lori. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much.
Good evening. I'm Fred Holden. I live at 188 West Glen Avenue. I'm here once again to speak in support of Graydon Pool and its staff. It is my understanding that on Saturday, June 25, there are only 4 guards working, and to maintain safety, due to the shortage of guards, only a very limited area of the pool could be used. These restrictions were undoubtedly the cause of provocation of a number of incidents occurring which patrons confronted and openly were hostile towards the guards. It was an extremely unpleasant day for the few guards who were working that day. It's more than deplorable. It actually undermines the guards' authority, who are responsible, of course, for the safety of all the patrons of the pool, and it creates a downright dangerous situation when this is allowed to continue. I think these obnoxious adults should have been confronted and possibly ejected. This immediate past Saturday, however, was very different. There appeared to be at least twice as many guards, and all patrons were cooperative. I'm not sure if there's a link there or not. I urge you to research the actual rates paid to our guards. Why were there only 4 on one Saturday and twice that number on the following Saturday? We simply must pay our lifeguards more. They are, in fact, our frontline workers for safety. We should keep in mind their job title, lifeguards. Of course, it is not the lifeguards who make the rules or decide the areas to be closed or restricted, but it is the lifeguards who are still responsible for enforcing those rules because they are the frontline workers charged with maintaining pool safety. We have this enviable community facility benefit called Graydon Pool. We must not starve it to death by underfunding its support. We can well afford to do this right. To lessen fears of little children, Mr. Rogers would tell them in scenes of trauma or bad situations to just look for the helpers. I think it's certainly always appropriate to thank such supportive personnel, but I would add, if you truly want to express your appreciation for those who help and keep us safe, then pay them. Finally, I've heard a number of former Ridgewood residents say, after they've moved out of this area and have returned, you know, one of the things we miss most about leaving Ridgewood is Graydon Pool. I implore you all, do what is necessary to preserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Linda Bosami. I live at 73 Pershing Avenue. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I need to agree with the people who have been here. I have lived in this town for over 30 years. I've had my kids. I've had 23 foster kids, all of whom have used that pool. I'm sure you saw the New York Times and that wonderful article, and the last part of the article was the pool. And that is one of the reasons that people move here. It is so unusual. And what everybody has been saying, it's got to be open later for those parents who are getting home from work, you know, and want to bring their children over and have a nice evening and have some of the summer. Also, I believe that the lifeguards need to be paid more, otherwise we're not going to have them. And the ability for them to learn how to be lifeguards, they should have some kind of program where they sign up, say, I will give you this summer, you give me a free lifeguard class. Because if the lifeguard class costs $350 and you're making $13 an hour, how long does that take in the hot sun when they're trying to really keep their eye on everyone to keep them safe? How long does that take to pay off? So that is something to think about. Also, and I could be misinformed, I believe that the lifeguards are asked to clean the toilets. Now, I don't know which one of us at our job, when have we been asked to clean the toilets? It doesn't seem to be part of the job. The job is to make sure that people are safe. And even though these are young people, and I heard someone, it was very difficult to hear, mention that the guards, many times people are so rude to them over things they have no control over. What part of the pool is open, what part isn't. And there should be some protocol, because you can't be screaming disgusting things at young people or at old people. You know, I know we all could have come here in our bathing suits this evening, and you would have gotten the idea that we really love the pool. But I certainly hope that you find in your hearts, for the people in Ridgewood, a lot of whom cannot afford to go away, who work during the summer and cannot go away, and this is their fun, you know, with their children, or even when you're by yourself, you know. I'm so happy they have the adult swim, which I believe is over 65, between 6 and 7. They did allow a few younger people to go in there. But those of us who are there truly enjoy it. And it really is upsetting to see the families have to leave with their children when we're in the water. I think it depends on money and funding. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Linda.
And it's the first time I've been here. I'm very happy to see everyone.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Any other public comments? Once, twice? Going. All right. We're going to close public comment. Before we go to the manager's report, just a couple of things. We've actually been working on this. And actually, in truth, we started working on this last summer, trying to resolve these issues that we had predicted, and they've come to fruition. So I don't know if we want to speak to some of the things that we've decided to do very quickly while everyone's here.
Sure.
What we're looking at.
I was going to put it at the top of my manager's report, actually.
Oh, okay.
Did you have any other comments about the public comments?
I'm sorry?
Did you have any other comments about the public comments
No,
first?
actually, I did. I did. Lori, where'd Lori go? I just wanted to comment about your mentioning in 2020 that we managed to keep Graydon open. And when you said that, I have to just share with you, that was almost so emotional for me, because I remember where we were at that moment and how this village, then village council members really worked so hard to make certain that Graydon was open through that summer, and it happened, and I think we're going to get this straightened out as well. But it seems like so long ago, and yet it really just wasn't. Now that I'm thinking about it, it feels like yesterday. So with that, we're going to go to the manager's report,
Before we do,
sure.
I'd like to just respond. First, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. You came to us and you spoke in such passionate and kind terms about something that's important to all of us. And that's the most important thing. You didn't come in here yelling and screaming. And so that means, for me personally, it means everything. We love Graydon as much as everybody in the room. And I will tell you, we are looking at, and Heather's going to tell you all the things that we're going through to try and resolve this. But I will tell you, again, from my personal experience in business, I don't know where all the workers have gone. They have disappeared into the woodwork. And this isn't just my business. I know many, many people in business. And they have melted away. I've been doing this for 25 years. Never saw anything like this. And while we are certainly looking at increasing the pay, it is not the panacea that we wish it were, that if you just give them more money, they will come. It's certainly a factor, as somebody mentioned. It's not everything. So I share that with you just to let you know. I know that Heather's been working on this. Nancy, Director of Parks, I mean, this is her number one priority. So, again, thanks for coming in, and we are always open to good ideas.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Okay, all right. Manager's report. Go ahead, Village Manager.
So I'm pleased to announce that Nancy Bigos, our Director of Parks and Recreation, and Bob Rooney, our CFO, have reviewed the budget for the lifeguards. As Ms. Bigos mentioned at our last meeting, we had already given all of the lifeguards a $3 per hour increase across the board. In reviewing the budget, we are actually able to give an additional $4 per hour increase. So what was originally a $16 per hour average for our lifeguards with a $3 increase is now $20 an hour. And it does go up based on experience. So the other thing I want to let you know is that this year in particular, we did a huge recruitment effort. We did go to all the high schools in the area, the colleges in the area. We went to the swim teams. We went to the Y. We went to the community colleges. And we did have an open house here in March as well to hire people for the summer. Many people who we thought might be interested were not, because either they were not good swimmers or they thought it was boring to sit in a chair all day or things like that. So, but we have gotten some new lifeguards. We have gotten a few more since we hired them originally. Ms. Bigos, am I forgetting anything? Did I cover pretty much everything? Okay, so that's the good news. I also know that when Ms. Bigos and Mr. Diamond were here a couple weeks ago, they mentioned that really what the guards wanted was one shift. And so to make it one shift, that's part of the reason that it closes at 6 o'clock, is because otherwise you need a double shift. And Mr. Diamond said more than the pay, it's the ability to not be overworked. And so that's part of it too. I understand the difficulty with working parents. I myself have been a working parent my entire career, and it is difficult to be able to get home, get kids, get back here before 6 o'clock. The good thing is recently we've had really great weekends, and so that's the time hopefully some working parents can bring their children to Graydon during the day. We'll continue to try to improve as much as we can, and I'm thrilled that we could find this additional money due to the fact that we were not able to hire quite as many lifeguards as we anticipated. We'll continue to work, and start early again for next year, and hopefully going forward between the hours and the pay, people will be interested in coming and being lifeguards here at Graydon Pool. So on another note, go ahead.
So is that it for Graydon?
That's it for Graydon.
All right, so here are the outstanding issues, because, last summer I had asked for training to start, that we should be funding the training, and that we should be seeking our own village staff members that are not working during the day to see if they would cover those hours if we offer the training. I think we probably should be either offering a free family membership or friend membership to our lifeguards to encourage them to stay for those hours. But even when we're looking at finding the funding and increasing the pay, where does that leave us with the hours? Because what I heard everyone say is that there's a deficit now because we're closing and we want to keep the pool open so that everybody can enjoy the facility fully for the full hours. And so I'm not quite certain that I got that when you spoke. Did I miss it?
Well, if we attract more people with this pay, then yes, we'll be able to be open more hours. With the current number of lifeguards that we have, we don't have enough lifeguards to keep open those additional hours.
So when the lifeguards are saying that they just want to work the one shift, and I just need to understand this, so they want to work a one shift, but maybe there's other ways to incentivize people to work a little bit more. And I really think that it's very important that we get these hours resolved. We can't have people show up with their little children and, kids get all excited, and then you got to put them in the car, and they're screaming, and you're already covered in sand, and it's a disappointment. So the other big questions are still open. I know we have some additional lifeguards now, so what is that now shaping up, and how is that shaping up in terms of hours of operation? Is there any change to that?
Right now, we're not changing the hours. And we have some lifeguards in training, is my understanding. And so they're taking the course for the bathing beach, which is what Graydon is called. And, once they're fully certified, we'll see where we stand at that time, and we can evaluate it. Ultimately, the bottom line is safety, and we need to be safe for our lifeguards as well as for those at the pool. And so, we have to see where we're at once these additional people are certified as lifeguards.
How long is how long does that program take to certify for lifeguards?
It's 51 hours, is that right?
51 hours translates into, if today is July 6th, what does that translate into?
They started June 26th, and it goes till next 2 weeks from now? Thank you. Last week in July.
So we're looking still at the last week in July before we can see some break or some improvement in the hours of operation. Is that what we're saying? So we still have 3 weeks. We're still 3 weeks out. And then we really can't even guarantee, because inevitably we know that toward the end of August there's I'm sorry?
Then the college kids go back to
Middle
school.
of August.
And also those who are involved in sports in the high school or band tend to leave at that time as well.
So I think that, and I don't recall who said it, that when we advertise a range, because there must be lifeguards already trained that if the price is right, they will come and work. I think we have to do a massive outreach and advertise, because I have to say how disappointed I am that we're still looking at the end of July, if we're lucky, to get these hours of operation up and running. And this wasn't something, and it wasn't something that we didn't grapple with last summer and have a conversation about last year. We were in this exact place last year having this conversation, and we're in exactly the same place right now. And it was an inevitable that we could have maybe avoided, possibly, not definitely, but possibly avoided.
This is a nationwide shortage. That's the other thing to remember.
But I understand nationwide shortage. I'm sorry, but I do know that we had other conversations about other staffing opportunities that we could have looked at the time. So I hear what you're saying, but there were other options available to us. And I don't think we really looked at those carefully enough. So, go ahead.
I just have a couple questions. I just want to clarify, because I thought, Heather, that you said they originally got a $3 an hour raise and then another $4.
Correct.
But if they started at 16, I think you said now they're getting 24?
Well, it would be 19, and then it would be 4, it would be 23.
Okay,
23.
but I thought you said 24, so I just wanted, so it's 23.
is the top.
Okay, and then another question I had, when Steve was here last time. He said when the pool closes at 6 o'clock, we're not going to kick you out, or you can stay on the beach. You just can't go in the water. So now I'm hearing you can't stay on the sand.
Could you come up? Could you come up, please? Thanks, because I have to have Nancy speak to this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
It's
This is the first that I have heard that our residents are asked to leave. I had a 40-minute conversation with Steve again today, just so that, you know, we are in transition. We are doing everything within.
Nancy, did your microphone go off or something? Is it going on and off or something? So you wanna just
Maybe move to the other one.
Sorry,
Thanks.
thank you.
Sorry, we'll replace that.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's much better.
So I am unaware of our residents being asked to leave early. This is a first. I do know that on the 4th of July, we were able to obtain additional lifeguards, and all of our facility was open for the entire length of time. All sections were open. So we are pretty much living this day by day. The facility operation is based on the number of lifeguards that we have each day.
So then, someone else once again raised the question about whether or not lifeguards are cleaning the toilets. So is that something they're required to do?
They are not required to do that. There are times when the maintenance man might be at lunch and there's an accident in the restrooms. You know, when you're dealing with the public, you've got to be able to think of all of the variables that can happen. It's not commonplace. We do have 2 maintenance men that do work the facility. So, you know, has that happened? Probably, possibly. Is it commonplace? No.
So is it doable to offer like a free friend membership to a lifeguard's friend in addition to a pay increase to say, you know, do you want to work those kind of maybe a couple of extra hours and overlap? Can we get creative with how we incentivize people to maybe put in a little bit more time? And I know we want to keep everyone alert and on their toes, but if there's something we can do for the extra little bit of time, can we do that? Is that
so? We already have a program in place where our volunteer firefighters are able to obtain free memberships to the pool. So that type of program is already in place. If the village council wanted to add to that, possibly offer it to our firefighters or our police officers or our EMS. I'm not sure who else that you might want to consider.
No, I'm saying that for our lifeguards, our current lifeguard staff, if there's a way we can offer them like a free friend pass, so allow a friend to come. So a friend is at the pool as well, or a family pass or something that incentivizes them maybe as in addition to a pay increase to encourage them to maybe work some extra hours. Is that something, I mean, just something to incentivize?
Absolutely.
So I think that we should put that tool in the toolbox. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees.
It costs us nothing, and it's a great perk. And I know you mentioned earlier the idea of perhaps even offering family discounts or family memberships for all lifeguards. Again, at $7 an hour and a $7 an hour increase for $16 an hour is almost a 50% increase.
Yeah.
So 50% is pretty significant. Does it mean that we can't and shouldn't go higher? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are other things perhaps that we can do. I think that is something that we certainly could take a quick look at and make a decision right away.
And here's the rub. we're giving an increase to the existing current lifeguard staff, but they're already working. And that doesn't really, even though I agree with doing that, it doesn't change the hours that they're working, and it doesn't resolve that issue. So the incentives have to be, for that added effort. And I think that's important, that, you already have people working for X amount of dollars. So the question is, what is the raise and the incentive intended to do? It's intended to ask folks to help us through this difficulty and getting the areas open. That's that's the incentive. That's what we're attempting to do. We're not just attempting to say, oh, here's just more money. The money, all of that's intended to incentivize people to do something. So,
right. So I have a couple questions, Nancy. So now that the lower end of the scale is $23 an hour, what is the range?
No, the higher
That's the
end
high
would
end.
be 20.
Oh, that's the high end.
19
Right.
to 23.
Oh. I thought, so there were people that were
15.
getting $12 an hour
There were originally.
for a lifeguard?
Originally.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Okay, so now it's 19 to 23. So my next question was, how does that compare to other pools in the area? Do you know?
I don't. I know that we are competitive, especially when you hear what New York City did today. I mean, I hadn't heard that till I came to the meeting this evening, so, we are right on, right?
Okay.
I do know the private clubs, Ridgewood Country Club is offering $20 an hour.
Okay.
So other municipalities might be offering less. Some of the private swim clubs, a little bit more, depending on their need and their clientele.
So if we offered $23 an hour and a free family, free membership for the family, that would be great. But I do think, as Susan said, we have to get the word out. Now, I know last time we spoke about having ads on Facebook, and have you done that? I mean, I'm not on Facebook.
That was definitely
So
out
did you-
there. I took
is
care
it-
of that the next day.
Is it on, like, it takes
Ridgewood
a village,
Moms and Dads,
The
the
okay.
Ridgewood Recreation, Parks and Recreation page. It might go on the village site. We definitely use a multifaceted approach for our public relations within the community. We sent out several email blasts just so that we were able to not only reach our Great Pool members and our tennis and pickleball holders, but also all of the residents and non-residents within our community pass system. It's pretty much every resident within the village of Ridgewood
Right.
and beyond.
Well, now that they've done an additional $4 an hour, I think we should put out another blast. I mean, seriously,
That's
if
tomorrow.
if there was a kid making $18 an hour at another pool and they see, hey, I can make 23, maybe I should go to Graydon.
Right.
I
And the
mean, who
word
knows?
will definitely get out amongst the peers, amongst the community. We were just waiting for village approval this evening in order to be able to move forward.
And then one last thing, I was very concerned it sounded like the lifeguards were being abused by patrons on that Saturday. So what is the protocol when, people are not behaving? Do they
It depends on the severity of the event. We do have incident reports that are written up, I can tell you, probably daily. Depending on whether it's teenagers with vulgar vocabulary in a sand fight versus someone that might be passed out and intoxicated on the beach. The management team does take care of that. There is no alcohol allowed at the facility, but that doesn't mean that somehow, as we know, when we host any type of event, those occurrences unfortunately happen. So the same thing, depending on the severity of what happens, it's an incident report. Our management team would address this with the resident, but I wasn't there, so I can't account for someone else's behavior.
Thank you.
So I'll just share that I think whatever we need to do, I think that I believe the Village Council supports funding anything we need to do to have this work for this summer and then going into the future. What we've done at Graydon has been remarkable. The water is crystal clear. It is by far so pristine. It's magnificent at this point. All that work, all that effort to be in a situation like this is just terrible. So, we're here to support. We want to see Graydon open. It's such a short season, and everybody just loves the facility. So whatever support you need from us, I think I'm speaking, everybody's here to support. So we want this to happen. And if you need any of us on social media, which I'm kind of like trying to stay off social media, it's much more peaceful without it. But I know that I can go on there, and I think between all of us, we reach a lot
That would
of
be
people.
helpful. Okay.
We live in Bergen County is another huge, that reaches all through Bergen County. There's so many of those pages and groups, and I know anyone out there in the world with social media, you can share it forward too. Let's get these lifeguards and let's get this done. I do know that our training is a little bit different than the other pools, so I know Councilwoman Reynolds said we could maybe pull from others, but it's not that simple always, right?
Right. Well, if the lifeguards would come to us with a standard lifeguard certification, it's just an additional 18 hours where they would need what we call a bridging. So they would be able to learn the rescue, learn the protocol, learn the scanning, those types of operations, and put themselves in the chair.
And they're paid during that training time.
Correct.
You're paid.
Yes.
So you're being trained
Yes.
and paid.
Yes.
So, all right. Any other questions, anyone?
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you for
We're
your
working
support.
on it, gang. So thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Nancy.
And thank you to the council for their support. We appreciate it.
You're still doing your report, right?
I'm just starting my report, yes.
Go
I want to
ahead.
thank all who volunteered and donated to support the Ridgewood July 4th tradition. Thank you also to all the village employees who worked for days leading up to the event, as well as on July 4th. From the American flags along the parade route to the amazing floats, bands, and fireworks, this was a very special July 4th. Please conserve water. The recent warm weather with very little rain is putting a strain on our water resources. All Ridgewood Water customers received a robocall this afternoon or this evening reminding them to conserve water and reminding them of the water restrictions. I want to mention that vehicles continue to be stolen. Today there was one attempted stolen vehicle and one vehicle which was stolen. Both times the fobs were in the cars. Do not leave your fobs in your cars and lock your car doors at all times. June 28th was the start for the largest day camp Ridgewood has ever held. This year, 596 children have registered to participate in the day camp, which is offered to children going into grades 1 to 6. Camp ends Friday, August 5th. Movies on the beach will be shown at Graydon Pool. I do want to mention you do not have to be a member of Graydon Pool to go to these movies on the beach. Please bring a chair or blanket and enjoy the movie. Friday, July 15th is Space Jam 2. Friday, August 5th is Sing 2. It's $5 a person, cash or check. The movie starts at dusk, and the Water's Edge Cafe will be open until the movie starts. We're still looking for additional lifeguards. We have pickleball and tennis memberships. Pickleball hours are now the same as tennis, and that's 8 a.m. to dusk. And Music in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square is presented on Saturday and Sunday nights during the summer months. The Ridgewood Guild is sponsoring free movies in the park. Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. July 13th is Sing. July 27th is Hairspray. On August 10th, it's Clueless. And August 24th, it's All About Eve. The Ridgewood Guild sponsors Music in the Night for the 13th season, and they provide music in various locations on Friday nights through Labor Day. The Guild also sponsors Art in the Park, taking place the first Friday of August. The 64th Annual Free Summer Concert Series at the Cashel Memorial Shell. They are running it through every Tuesday and Thursday through August 4th. The senior bus will be providing free transportation to several of the Tuesday music performances. Please call extension 201-670-5500, extension 2203, to make a reservation. And to find out if the performance will be relocated indoors due to weather concerns, please call 201-444-1776 after 6:30 p.m. on the day of the performance for an update. Thursday, July 21st, a health resources fair will take place in the parking lot next to the Cashel Memorial Shell from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Healthy information about at-home COVID-19 tests, giveaways, and important information from Valley Hospital, Bergen Newbridge Medical Center, Ridgewood Parks and Recreation, Ridgewood Health Department, Age Friendly, Ridgewood, and Westburg Mental Health Care will be available. The senior bus will not be available on July 21st. Nominating packets for Village Council are available at the Village Clerk's office. 2 council positions are up for election at the November general election. Household Hazardous Waste Collection, BCUA, it's actually held at the Bergen County Campground Mountain Reservation, 200 Campground Road in Mawa, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. No commercial vehicles, no business or commercial waste is accepted. Bergen County residents only, so you need an ID to get in. The Farmers Market is celebrating its 22nd anniversary, Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the west side of the New Jersey Transit train station parking lot through late October, early November. We need school crossing guards to join the Ridgewood team. If you're interested, please contact the area supervisor at 201-969-7182. Village Council upcoming meetings are broadcast live from here, from the Village Hall courtroom, also Channel 34 on FiOS. July 13th is our Village Council public meeting. August 3rd is our Village Council public work session. August 10th is our Village Council public meeting. And then September 7th is also a Village Council public work session. And that's all I have.
Heather, just before we continue, did you want to mention that we're working on the Recycle Coach to...
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Recycle Coach app is available to all Ridgewood residents who wish to sign up on it, and that has been for recycling, but we are now also going to use it for grade notifications. So there'll be a special thing that you'll have to check to say you want to get graded notifications, and once you do that, you'll receive notifications about if for some reason a section of the pool has to be closed, or if there's been lightning, and so they had to close the pool, or after lightning, the pool is reopening. If you do not belong to Graydon, I would say do not check that because you'll get many notifications. But for Graydon pool users, it's going to be great. My understanding is it should be up and running by the end of this week, hopefully in time for the weekend. So again, you'll see it on your Recycle Coach app. If you don't have that yet and you are a member of Graydon Pool, I encourage you to sign up for it so that you can get the Graydon notifications.
So can we make sure we put that in an e-notice
Yes,
as well?
I'm going to
because
do
the
an
push
e-notice on a
notifications
lot of
will
things,
provide
yes.
really
By the end of the
helpful.
week, yes.
Great. Thank you. All right, very good. Councilwoman Perrin.
I also would like to thank the July 4th committee for a wonderful day from beginning to end. The parade was just such a demonstration of creativity with the parasols and the music and the floats. It was just the best demonstration of Americana I can remember. It was a great crowd, and I especially want to thank everybody who kept us safe. The fireworks were like jewelry in the sky. It was just so wonderful, and it was really great to hear everybody laugh when the smiley faces were blown into the air. I also want to thank the Department of Health. Dawn Citrullo managed to get earplugs for people who came to the fireworks on Vets Field, and that was something that concerned us at Green Ridgewood because of the noise affecting public health and hearing, and so that was a great thing also. Green Ridgewood, our environmental committee, had a densifier demonstration for at the recycling center of how our styrofoam gets squished into bricks and is reused to make frames and moldings and things like that. And we had people from other towns who were just amazed at what Ridgewood is doing. And I urge everybody, when you have EPS extruded styrofoam, that's the big white stuff that comes as packing, don't put it out in bulk waste. Don't put it out in your regular garbage. You can drop it off any day that the recycling center is open. You'll see a huge trailer full where you can just leave your extruded stuff and it will be recycled properly. Green Ridgewood meets tomorrow. One of the things we are going to be discussing is the leaf blower noise and how the village might deal with that. So that's tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the stable. If anybody would like to join us, our meetings are open to the public. With regard to our renewable energy, God bless you. With regard to our renewable energy aggregating program, the EAGER program, we received 3 bids for the consultant to help us get the best price possible for electricity with renewable content, and we're reviewing those bids. Unfortunately, our chairman of the committee is leaving, Bob Upton. He is moving to be closer to his grandchildren, and I wanted to give a special thank you to him for his indefatigable service on the Green Ridgewood Committee. He's always kept us in line. He's been instrumental in the styrofoam drives, the plastic bag ban, backing the energy aggregation initiative, green restaurants, sustainable Jersey, and reporting on planning board meetings, all kinds of things to keep us organized, and we will sorely miss him. The Open Space Committee hasn't met, but Susan and I did have a chance to review the draft of the open space element for the master plan, and it's very exciting to see that coming together. I think it's going to be a really thought-provoking document and give ideas for our town going into the future. Chamber of Commerce has not met yet this month, and the Central Business District Advisory Committee meets on July 14th via Zoom. We'll be discussing various issues, some of which the council will be discussing tonight. We will also have a speaker, a developer, John Saraceno, who lives in town and whose company was the developer for the Benjamin apartment complex on Franklin and also for the North Maple complex on North Maple Avenue, NOMA. If you'd like to join, just let me know and I'll send you the link so you can be part of the Zoom. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Vagianos?
I have nothing to report.
Oh, okay. Councilwoman Reynolds?
I also have nothing. Well, I haven't had any committee meetings, but I just wanted to say Project Pride just distributed the second round of Project Pride Awards. If you see anybody's house that has about a 4.5 foot stake that has a sunflower, they have won the Project Pride Award because they have gone above and beyond with keeping their front landscaping beautiful for all of us to see as we walk and drive by. And if you know of anybody who has a gorgeous front yard, please email me their address and we will consider them for an award. And I want to thank the mayor for coming with me and taking out the old stakes and putting in six new houses. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Is that like being Santa Claus?
It's
made
a
them
lot
better.
of fun, and especially if the people are home or they answer the door, they're just so happy, and it is a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was actually a lot of fun. Okay, Deputy Mayor Seaton.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to echo some of the comments about the 4th of July and thank the committee and all the volunteers. It was really a perfect day from start to finish. And other than that, it's been kind of slow. I have nothing else to report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So a couple of things. First, I'm going to say how much I love the movie Clueless. and I love the extruder. So 2 things tonight that I really do like. I have to commend Councilwoman Perrin for sitting through this 2-hour meeting that she and I were in this morning. It was 2 hours of going through every word, every line of a document, and Councilwoman Perrin, although she got the little nickname of nitpicker, she just was...
Nitpicker in chief, please.
In chief. She was, I thought I was bad. She gives new meaning to that. But she did an amazing job, and the 2 of us really worked together to identify any errors and corrections that had to be made. So it was a long morning, but we got through it, and so that was, I wanted to say thank you. And I did want to say thank you to Councilwoman Reynolds for taking me with her to do the Project Pride Award. I have to say, some people, their gardens are just absolutely gorgeous. And it really is something to drive around town and see how beautifully people maintain their properties, especially during the summer, in the heat, and the lack of rain. It's more challenging, but it's everybody. So many properties are just absolutely beautiful. So thank you to everybody for keeping your properties great. So last week I attended meetings for both the Ridgewood Library Board of Trustees and Access. Not too much to report on either. This past Friday, my mouse here. 7 Vietnam veterans received, hang on, let me just get this. Somewhere it is. Let's see, oh, there it is. Okay, good. This past Friday, 7 Vietnam veterans received Vietnam lapel pins in recognition of their service to our country. Congressman Josh Gottheimer and his staff worked tirelessly to make sure our veterans were honored at Friday's ceremony, including retired Lance Corporal Raymond Litwitz, retired Private First Class Joseph Burns, retired Army Commander Gerald Maximowitz, retired Captain Gerald Bucci, retired Army Captain Wayne Lemmy, retired Specialist 4th Class Jack Marcasano, and retired Specialist 5th Class Donald Gordon Miles, who was posthumously awarded 8 medals for his service in Vietnam. I want to thank our Bergen County Commissioners, Mary Ann Maruso, Jermaine Ortiz, Tom Sullivan, and Ramon Hache for attending, along with the Director of Bergen County Department of Human Services Veteran Affairs, Shorn Hutchinson, as well for his assistants, the Ridgewood American Legion Post 53, and the Ridgewood Public Library for allowing us to use the auditorium. Thank you to Congressman Gottheimer, and a very, very, very big thank you to Gianna Lombardi, who works for Josh Gottheimer. We had a little hiccup with our Vietnam veteran lapel pins because some of our veterans had not filed their privacy paperwork, and at the very last minute we were able to get that all taken care of and make sure that their paperwork was in order. So thank you to everyone, and thank you to all who serve and sacrifice for our nation. July 4th was a wonderful day in Ridgewood. Starting, I just have to say, I've been council liaison to 4th of July since 2014, and we didn't have 4th of July in 2020. I want to say the deputy mayor did an amazing job in the morning because he reflected on that, and then kind of going back to 2021 and where we were before and where we are today. So it was really very thoughtful comments, so I appreciate that. We started the morning with the annual flag raising ceremony featuring performance by Praket Nigam and Maya Grant, and a thoughtful speech delivered by our deputy mayor, followed by the 4th of July parade winding through our historic central business district. It was a wonderful event. The crowds, I agree, the crowds along the route were just amazing. Congratulations to all of Ridgewood's elementary schools for their float entries. Each reflected the 2022 theme, Let Freedom Ring. All were beautiful. I do not have the list of who won, but I don't hold me to this. I think Somerville got first place. That's not because most of us are from Somerville here, just as luck would have it, but their floats were just amazing. Immediately after the parade, the Ridgewood Fire Department hosted the annual Fire Department Awards for parade entries. Congratulations to Saddle River and Waldwick for ladder truck and engine awards, and Hohokus for best antique fire apparatus. Best hot dog award should probably go to the Ridgewood Fire Department, so thank you to Chief John Judge and all for a fun event. The 4th of July evening included great music by the Nine Stilettos and the Dad's Night Band. Let's see. a makeshift color guard. We didn't hear from the Boy Scouts in time, so the makeshift color guard included 2 of my grandsons and Hunter Seaton, along with Boy Scout Phil Finn, who showed up at the 11th hour and held that flag. They all stood by as Grace Sullivan sang the national anthem, kicking off a spectacular Grucci fireworks display. Thank you to everyone who participated, all those who donate and volunteer. The day wouldn't be possible without your help. A world of thanks to the entire Ridgewood 4th of July Celebration Committee, including and especially Lee Gilsenin, Skylar Satiel, Chris Ramundi, and the amazing Tara Masterson, who just is tireless and boundless energy is crazy. And finally, thank you to village staff, Heather Maylander, and every single first responder, police, firefighter, EMTs on hand throughout the day. We couldn't have gotten through it without you. Especially with all the craziness of the day. So thank you again, everyone. Amazing day. And just mark your calendars and check the village website for planning board, because we do have coming up 2 weeks from yesterday, so I don't know the date in front of me. We have the 19th, yes. So that is our redevelopment plan is on deck, and I possibly, so don't hold me to this, but that's why I want everyone to check back, our master plan review. So we're working out some details. We're not sure if it's going to be July and August or August and September, but just check back, right? I don't think we actually...
We know that the open space plan can't be brought out on the 19th.
Right. So we're going to work out the details, and I know that the committee wanted to, the master plan committee wants to move forward and stay on task with this at this point. But waiting a few more weeks might be beneficial, so we'll get to that. But with that, that's it for me, and we will move on to the meeting.
Okay. Our first item for discussion under Ridgewood Water is awarding a contract for water billing and data collection processing services. On Wednesday, June 1st, Ridgewood Water received bids for the remainder of 2022, the years 2023 and 2024. One bid was picked up, with one bid being received. Computil Inc. of Shelton, Connecticut was the sole bidder for this service. Based on their performance during their previous contract, the recommendation is to award the bid for a 3-year contract, which is awarded on a yearly basis to Computil Inc., not to exceed $320,096 per year. Funds are budgeted in 2022 operating budget. The prior contracts with Computil for the years 2017 through 2022 carried an annual fee of $237,395, which is a difference of $82,700. The increased cost is the result of increases in postage and operational costs, and changes will be month to month based on the number of customers with paperless billing versus billing through the mail, and custom programming in a given month, which may not be needed every month. And so that's why it's a not to exceed number of $320,96.
Anyone questions?
I do.
Okay.
Do most people pay online automatically? Would it benefit the town if more people paid online automatically?
Could you turn on the microphone
Yeah.
There we go.
and speak into it?
Jill, is it on? Jill, say your name.
Jill Fasana from Ridgewood Water. Hi, good evening. So I'm not exactly sure how many pay online and not. I'll have to get back to you, but I think it would be a huge benefit, yes.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Okay. I have a question, Jill. I thought that Ridgewood was going to do their own billing after, the new water department was built. No?
No, it's
incorrect.
All outsourced.
It's all, okay. I thought we were going to do it in-house. No.
Okay, the next item is awarding a contract for GIS software support. We have a proposal from Environmental System Research Institute, or ESRI, for GIS software support and upgrades for the Village of Ridgewood and also Ridgewood Water. They are the sole supplier of this software support. The agreement is 3-year period, awarded annually through December 31st, 2025. It's billed in increments of $27,500 per year and is split between the Village of Ridgewood and Ridgewood Water. So each will pay $13,750 each. This is budgeted for in the water operating budget and also in the operating budget, general operating budget. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Okay, the next one is awarding a professional service contract for raw water mains. We have a proposal from Mott McDonald to provide professional engineering services to the village for the design, permitting, bidding, and construction phase engineering services for the raw water mains Phase 1. This project consists of installing approximately 55,000 feet of new ductile iron raw water transmission mains to convey water to 4 new centralized PFAS treatment facilities, Ames, Wharton Dyke, Cedar Hill, and Prospect. The new mains will connect 14 wells to the new facilities, and these improvements will complete a major step in providing PFAS-free water into the Ridgewood water distribution system. The recommendation is to award this professional services engineering contract with Mott McDonald of Isla, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $1,068,350. Funding for this project is in the Ridgewood Water capital budget, and the required pay-to-play forms have been received in the village clerk's office.
Anyone questions?
Well, I just want to clarify for people who are listening at home, this is $1 million bill, and what we're looking at here is engineering in terms of the design, the permitting, the bidding, and supervision of the construction, but we would still be going out to bid for the actual labor of construction. This contract doesn't do the actual labor itself, right?
That's correct.
So we're going to be looking at more money down the road, and we wouldn't be doing any of this if it weren't for the PFAS problem, right?
Correct.
And so the village has litigation going to recover these costs, which are occasioned by the PFAS in the water, against the manufacturers of PFAS, correct?
Right.
Okay, so hopefully we'll recover this. Okay, thank you.
All right, the next item is awarding a contract under state contract. So this is for 8 TV monitors for the Ridgewood Water headquarters facility, skater room, and it's under the New Jersey State Cooperative Purchasing System under Omnia Partners Co-op. It's to B&H Photo Video of New York City, New York, an amount not to exceed $30,386.88, and the money is available in the water operating account.
So what happened to the old monitors? Because I know we have them, right?
I'll have Dylan Hansen come up because he's in charge of all things electronic.
Hello. It's working. Hello, everybody. All right, so these monitors, currently they do have, I believe, 3 monitors at the Wharton Dyke facility. We're going to reutilize those monitors throughout the new facility for the training room when you first enter and for the break room. This is actually a video wall that connects together. They're seamless TVs without a border, so it'll be like one big Lego of TVs, and then we can actually use all 8 TVs at one time from one computer, or we can split it up into separate things. And they're going to be monitoring SCADA as well as the security system on it as well for each of the pump houses.
Okay, all right, fine. I couldn't figure out what we were doing with the other monitors, so that's fine. Good, very good.
Okay, the next item is awarding a contract under state contract. This is for water quality testing equipment and supplies. They're necessary to monitor and report levels of pH, phosphate, and chlorine for the system operation. The Hatch Company of Loveland, Colorado, is the vendor, and it's an amount not to exceed $35,928.03, and the funding is in the water utility operating budget.
Any questions?
The next item is authorizing a change order for the elevator construction at the new Ridgewood Water headquarters. Adamo Brothers, who's doing the construction, has found from DCA, who does the inspection of the elevators, that there is a need for a sump pump and shaft ventilation in the elevator shaft. So it's required in order to get the certificate that it's been approved. So the change order is in the amount of $18,800.26, and it's to Adama Brothers Construction of Ridgefield, New Jersey, and funding for this project is in the water utility operating budget.
Did we originally plan not to do an elevator? Is that what happened?
No, the elevator
we were
was-
always going to do an
Oh, it's
elevator.
just because of the, okay, understood. Got
Yeah.
it.
Some pumps should have been included. I mean, that's standard with elevator shafts. I mean,
Yeah.
Everyone has some pumps.
Yeah. The next item is the authorizing agreement with PSE&G for the installation of energy efficiency measures. So they're offering Ridgewood Water an Energy Saver program, also called the Direct Install Program, based on a recent energy audit that they did. PSE&G's contractor representative, Facility Solutions Group, has been the point of contact. Part of the energy audit that was performed for 31 Ridgewood Water facilities, existing lighting was assessed for replacement. So the total project replacement cost is $25,587.45. PSE&G will contribute 44% of that, or $11,281.31. The Ridgewood water cost is $14,306.14, and the savings estimated will be $6,273.96. If you have any other questions, I know that Jill has been instrumental in pushing this initiative forward.
Any questions for Jill?
No.
I'm in favor of this because based on these calculations, it sounds like we will save so many kilowatt hours that the amount of CO2 emitted into the air will be reduced by over 800 pounds per year. That's pretty amazing.
That's their estimate.
That's an environmental win for sure.
Definitely. Okay. The next item is policy for the order of billing categories. So Ridgewood Water receives payments from customers for several categories of billed items, including consumption, facilities fees, PFAS surcharges, return check fees, service entry, and final read fees. Ridgewood Water has been following a policy of how payments are applied in which order they're applied. The sequential order of categories to which payments are applied requires village council approval. In other words, if a partial payment is made, the first payment would be to the oldest balance or delinquency, if any, followed by interest, fees, such as final read or return check fee, and principal, consumption, facilities fees, service entry, tax, and PFAS surcharges. So this will set forth those categories and the order in which they're paid.
Okay, any questions, anyone?
Okay. The next item is under parking.
I think we should say thank you to Jill.
Thank you.
Oh, you know
Thanks,
what?
Jill.
Look, could we just jump to item?
Is Jill still have something?
Yeah, one more thing that she does. What is this? C11. No, C11.
8C11?
Yes. So this is the PSE&G. This is for the PSE&G direct install for the village itself. I know Village Hall is being done as well as other village buildings. And again, an energy audit was performed. A replacement program and agreement was approved already via Resolution 22-132. A site inspection was conducted, and they realized that there were additional energy efficiency measures that could be done. So they've since provided a revised proposal and change order amendment to the agreement for replacement of certain energy efficiency measures. So the original total project replacement cost was $146,586.56. It's now $165,907.49. PSE contribution it was $113,270.16. It's now $123,931.48. Village of Ridgewood cost was originally $33,316.40. and is now $41,976.01. The monthly energy savings is now $2,738.59, and the monthly cost will be $699.60 for 5 years at 0% interest, and it's billed on our monthly bills. So basically, we're going to get LED lighting in offices here in Village Hall. What else does it cover,
We're
Joe?
getting the new HVAC units.
Just use your microphone,
New
Jill.
HVAC units on the roof.
Oh,
Okay.
so it's not just bulbs, it's appliances as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yep.
And Jill, why is PSE&G paying 75% of the cost for the Village Hall and 44% for Ridgewood Water?
So they pay a higher percentage on the HVAC end, and because the increase is all in lighting, it's overall a decrease in the percentage.
I see.
Not as
Okay.
much as an increase.
Hey, it's great. They're
Yeah.
paying an enormous amount of it.
Okay, now,
Okay.
is that it for Jill?
That's it. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you, Jill. Good night.
Okay. The next item is the extension of the grab-and-go parking spaces. As you recall, we did extend the grab-and-go parking spaces to July 31st. We'll be introducing the shared loading zones, additional 15-meter spaces ordinance probably in August with adoption in September, which will make it effective early October. So this time, the Village Council must decide whether to extend the grab-and-go to the end of September or not. If not, those spaces will revert to 3-hour time on the kiosk until such time as the other ordinance is adopted and effective. And then some of those spaces will become 15-minute spots. Some of those spaces will become, there'll be shared loading zones in some of those spaces. So that's what we have to discuss now.
We can't do it any quicker? It's going to be September what?
Well, because we introduce 1 month, the following month is the hearing, and then it's 20 days until it's effective.
So are we still, I thought that people weren't interested in sponsoring the grab-and-go anyway, so I guess we first have to establish whether or not we're getting paid for them before we can make a decision,
Right.
because otherwise they have to automatically revert back to whatever the paying,
Right, would be 3 hours.
form of
Right.
payment is.
My understanding is that the sponsors will pay through when the loading zone, shared loading zone program comes in, but that it's cumbersome for them to pay twice through July 31st and then again for another short period of time, but that they're good for the money for the full period, for both periods.
So we just extend it till October?
To September 30th, basically.
To September
It's like
30th.
October 3rd it would be effective, so.
So why don't we just do that, and then as long as we're being paid for the spaces, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make sense to go from one thing to another than another
Yeah.
if we can keep it more seamless, okay?
Okay, so everyone's okay to extend grab-and-go to September 30th. Well, I think it's $250 a month, I believe. So, it'll be an additional $500, so it's like $1,300 from May is when we started extending it. So, we'll reach out to those sponsors and let them know. Okay. That was easy. The next one is budget, authorize the execution of an agreement with the Ridgewood Board of Education for the lightning detection system. Deputy OEM Coordinator Brian Pullman has been in negotiations with the Ridgewood Board of Education about an agreement to share cost of the hardware maintenance and software subscription for the lightning detection system. The Board of Education is willing to pay the bill and then invoice the village for our 50%, and then we would pay them. A maintenance contract is also being added to our current subscription costs. It's a 5-year contract. It is payable each year. The total per year cost is $13,639. The village and the Ridgewood Board of Education will have a written agreement to state how any related costs incurred will be shared. So a resolution will be necessary to authorize the agreement and the execution of the agreement. And I believe Mr. Rogers is going to provide that agreement and the resolution.
Okay, questions?
Okay. The next one is awarding the second year of a 2-year contract for infrared asphalt surface and sidewalk repair. This was bid and awarded last year. It includes repair and restoration of sidewalk slabs, driveway aprons, patching of trenches with stabilized base asphalt mix and concrete curbs. The intent of this contract is to have available a means to restore village streets to a new condition after an excavation has been made in them. J. Fletcher Kramer and Son Inc. of Hackensack, New Jersey, was the low bidder and was awarded the contract last year. The bid language said that there was an optional second year as long as both parties agreed that there would be no change in prices. J. Fletcher Kramer has agreed to that. We also agree to it. So it's a resolution, again, to award the second year to J. Fletcher Kramer and Son, Inc. of Hackensack, New Jersey, not to exceed $250,000. And funds are available in the operating budget.
Any questions?
The next item is awarding a sole source contract for SCADA system upgrades for the water pollution control facility. They've been working with Emerson Process Management on the upgrading of their SCADA system, which is about 20 years old, and that's used to operate the wastewater treatment plant. The Ridgewood Water Company also uses the same equipment, so it's beneficial in that if there are issues, they can work them out with the water department, who's been using it for a longer period of time. The amount, we received an update. The original amount was from a quote from March of 2021. The updated amount is not to exceed $157,713 for Phase 2 of what is needed at the water pollution control facility at this stage. The funding is through the capital budget, so there will be a resolution to award this contract to Emerson Process Management of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for that dollar amount.
Maybe I didn't hear fast enough. What was Phase 1?
Phase 1 was their beginning to upgrade. This is the second phase. I'd have to get a full accounting of what Phase 1 was.
I'd be interested
okay,
to know.
Sure.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. The next item is awarding a contract under state contract for the software for the security system. This is to renew our licensing and service contract for Genetech. This is software for all of the village access control and camera security through the Ridgewood Police Department. This is a separate purchase than that of the Secure Watch service contract. The contract is for the yearly licensing, minor and major software upgrades, and telephone support from Genetech. So it's a resolution to award the contract to Secure Watch 24 of Moonachie, New Jersey, not to exceed $6,549.79, and the funding is in the police operating budget.
Okay. Any questions?
The next item is an additional award for painting of Village Hall. We had a company through the Bergen County Cooperative Purchasing System. We had hired A&A Painting Corporation of Hackensack, New Jersey. They painted the columns of Village Hall as well as the facade of the building, the west facade of the building, and the flagpole, and they did a phenomenal job. It really looked beautiful on July 4th and will continue to look beautiful for quite a while to come. The village needs the older portion of Village Hall's facade also to be painted because it's faded, chipping, and unattractive. The crown molding that supports a portion of the roof that overhangs the exterior wall is also in need of repair. So it's a resolution to award a contract in the Bergen County contract to A&A Painting Corporation of Hackensack, New Jersey, not to exceed $34,463.25, and funding is in the general capital budget.
Any questions?
Heather,
Yes.
I am having a hard time visualizing this. Are we talking about, on the old building, the south facade and the north facade?
It's, I'll get exactly where it
Call that the
is.
sides.
Yeah, I'll let you know exactly where it is.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
So you have a visual. As I said, they really did a phenomenal job. I was impressed with their work. I think we all were. The next item is, last year, the village awarded the contract for a rubber tire front-end loader. It was for $58,611.80. The vehicle, 1 year later, has now arrived at the dealer, and the price, it's through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing, has increased by an additional $6,322.68. In addition, a 48-inch bucket for ice and snow removal is also needed for $2,840. So we'll do a resolution for the combination of the differential for the Sourcewell contract as well as the bucket for the ice and snow removal.
I just have a question. So when you order this, they don't guarantee the
They
price?
do, except the Sourcewell contract expired in the meantime. That's what happened. And so under the new Sourcewell contract, their bid price was higher. So, and it's because of the supply chain issues. So if it hadn't taken a year to get the vehicle in, it would have been that price. So.
And Heather, it says that this vehicle is going to be used for clearing snow off sidewalks. Is that only the sidewalks at the Water Pollution Controls facility, or is that elsewhere too?
It'll be basically in that area. However, if I know we do have other vehicles that do sidewalks in this area, and so if it's possible to use it on sidewalks in other areas, we'll do so. All right, the next one is the taxi stand gutter repair. Triplex Industries of South Amboy, New Jersey recently completed the repairs and restoration to the taxi stand. The copper gutter on the lower roof line of the taxi stand has been damaged, and the gutter is crinkled and now leaks, and then, so that'll be an issue in the winter. So Triplex Industries has provided the quote for this work on the gutter for $4,816.04, which would be change order number 1 to their previous contract for the repairs to this taxi stand.
So how do wayward trucks hit that? I'm not really getting it, and
I think they get too close to the building, and so that's why we're looking at the bollards, as you recall, because we've had someone run into the taxi stand twice, and I think that the bollards will also prevent the trucks from getting close enough to the building that will then, crinkle the gutter material.
But, I mean, it just seems so odd, because a truck would have to not only get that close to the building, where there's... It has to be like up on the sidewalk. I mean, it has to be up on the sidewalk, plus the height, and it's underneath the I don't get how trucks hit it. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah, if they aimed for it, they wouldn't hit it. But I don't understand how they hit it.
Are there any cameras in that area that you could?
I don't know if there are cameras in that area.
Have you ever seen a guy back up a big truck? They're all not as gifted.
But, and why would they be backing up there, of all places?
They use it as a loading zone.
Right, and if we're considering using it as a loading zone,
Which is
I
why.
am worried.
But that's why we're putting the bollards in, because that'll have some setback then.
Okay.
I don't know. It said wayward truck. I don't know. I just, literally. Okay, moving on.
All right. The next item is a change order for the tree removals. As you probably recall, we did award contract for tree removals in various locations to Dujet's Tree Experts, Inc. of Woodland Park, New Jersey. They're currently working on those tree removals, and they have found that there are 5 more trees which have been identified 5 additional locations with trees that need to be removed, and they will require a crane. So Dujets provided a quote of $32,000 for these extra trees and crane. Recommendation is to approve this change order to Dujets Tree Experts, Inc. of Hawthorne, New Jersey for $32,000. And the funding is in the capital budget.
Okay. Anyone?
This is so sad.
Yeah.
More trees being removed, and I think I'm going to write a eulogy for trees in Ridgewood. It's just so sad.
Yeah. The next item is crossing guard services. So we did go out for our crossing guard services as we do every couple of years. We did not receive any bids. So we've gone out again for bid with slightly changed specifications, and they're due, I think, the end of July. So hopefully we'll have some bidders and be able to award that at the August meeting, just in time for school. The next item is authorizing the municipal aid grant through NJDOT. So the engineering division has submitted the 2023 NJDOT municipal aid grant for the north half of North Monroe Street from West Glen Avenue to the borough of Waldwick. Part of the grant application requires a resolution approving it by the governing body. So that's done every year.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay, the next one is garbage containers for the Central Business District. So we know that we used to have very heavy concrete square containers where we put garbage cans into, and then we changed to more lightweight A-frame garbage cans in the CBD, which had clear plastic bags. They now have black plastic bags. The old receptacles were extremely heavy. They weren't easily moved, and it had a small opening on the top. The current trash cans were clear bags, and it was visible to everyone, which is why we put the black bags. So the police department has recommended two different options. One is a blast-resistant trash receptacle, which is used, minimize the impact of any explosion that may take place. They're currently deployed in train stations, airports, government buildings, and other areas for the purpose of eliminating or significantly reducing any injuries. These bins need to be placed where they will be easily accessible to sanitation workers. They're designed to be functional and aesthetically pleasing as well. The downside is the cost, because they're $1,000 to $3,000 per garbage can. We'll probably need about 100 of them. The other possible replacement option is a non-blast resistant receptacle. It is aesthetically pleasing. It costs between $500 to $1,500 per can. So the Homeland Security approved receptacles, we would better protect residents and visitors. So this is what they've come up with. I don't know, if it's something you want to discuss now, or you want to leave what we have in the Central Business District at the current time, which is the former ones with black bags, so that people eating at sidewalk cafes are not looking at clear garbage bags with every kind of garbage in it, right where they're eating, which was not pleasant at all.
I am going to thank you for getting the black bags into the garbage pails. Personally, I think that resolves the issue, and this is an awful lot of money to spend, and the primary reason was how disgusting it was to see the garbage, and the black bags, it was just a simple solution, and I think that this is right now, for me, I'm fine with the black bags lining the garbage.
Yeah,
bags.
we're talking $100,000 to $300,000 to change, and there's no reason to change them.
I'm just curious, and I'm fine with the black bags, but wasn't the intent of the clear bags so that if somebody put an explosive device in there or something that we would be able to see it. And that's why we
Correct.
changed them
Yes,
to begin with.
that's right.
Well,
Just checking.
I think that was part of the problem, and then the other part was that the previous garbage cans were concrete blocks. So if you really put something in there and it blew up, it could shatter the concrete and splinter it, and then that would send shrapnel flying in all directions.
Right.
So they were like, they would aid a bomb in being even more destructive than something else. So I think it was twofold. It was so they could see
Right.
through
So
them, so it wasn't.
And I'm glad to hear you
shrapnel.
say that, Mike. So then the expense that we went through to get the clear containers is not completely wasted because
Correct.
it is not as destructive. God forbid someone puts an explosive device in there as it would have been with the concrete containers.
That's
But-
definitely true.
But the ones we have now are also not blast resistant. They're not the BRTR.
No.
Because it doesn't send projectile, it doesn't send things upward the way these four are created. I'm willing to live with what we have for a little bit longer, but a lot of them are near the end of their life expectancy anyway. Do we have to buy 100 at a time, or can we buy them 10 at a time? Because I think some need to be replaced. I see the lids are off, they're covered with graffiti.
I don't think we need to buy 100 at a time.
Yeah.
We could probably phase it in as like a capital project
Yeah.
in the next
I'm
budget.
sure we could.
And do it over the course
Yeah.
of several years and spread it out, especially as, replace the most beat-up ones with the newer kind, if you want to do that in the next budget, and then just keep doing that until
Yeah.
eventually they get replaced.
And then as to the newer kind, they're so modern looking, these blast resistant ones. I think they're out of keeping with the aesthetic in town. I think the non-blast resistant one is more in keeping with the character of our village, but then you don't have
That defeats the
the
purpose.
safety.
Right.
So what I'm interested in knowing is, what is the cost of the one that we're now lining with the black bag? Because, it's actually easier if this is what we have, rather than doing a mishmash again. We know that we have this garbage pail. They've lasted now since 2016, 17.
Is that when we got them?
Yep.
Okay.
And we can just line it with a black bag. We don't see the trash. And the truth of it is, and I agree, I always thought the clear trash bag was almost kind of funny because, we have other things downtown, vehicles, other things. So what we did for all these years was just see trash, and it trashed up the central business district. So I'm glad we were able to just line them with black bags and resolve that and make the ugliness go away. I think if we're going to replace them based on the cost of those, we just replace them with exactly that. And they're light, they're easy to move, they're just simple, and they're not, I don't think they're cumbersome. They don't,
Right.
They seem almost less intrusive with the black garbage bag lining it now. So I'm kind of good to just keep going with those.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item is the Kingsbridge Lane Bridge. So as you recall, in June, we discussed how the Division of Engineering is recommending the replacement of the bridge with a prefabricated pedestrian bridge and hiring a consultant for design-build contract, and the fact that we would have to get Bergen County's approval because it's a county road, as well as NJDEP approval for permitting because it goes over the brook. And the cost estimate was $350,000 to $400,000. We didn't know how much money we had budgeted, and it's been determined what we have budgeted is $100,000. So at this point in time, obviously we don't have enough to move forward with a design build unless you want to do a bond ordinance. Also, as was pointed out in June, even if we started this project today, it would be 2 to 3 years before the bridge is replaced by the time we got all of the approvals and then built it, designed it, built it, bid it, built it. It would be a long time till it returns. I do get calls and emails occasionally, as I'm sure you might as well, from residents in that area asking about the progress towards replacing or repairing that bridge. And, we didn't know what funding we had available. It's $100,000, which actually we put into the budget this year. That's all. Any other former money we might have had has been canceled because it was years and years ago, so we put that in.
Didn't we use part of that 100,000 for the, estimate?
Structural.
The engineer?
The recommendation about the structure was done in-house.
Oh, okay.
It came from our new engineer, Chris Pierce,
Okay.
who was at our June meeting. So,
Well, if this is something that we're going to do going forward, can we start the permitting process now? So we have $100,000, so if there's any associated costs with the DEP or the county or anybody like that, we can cover that and at least get that started now, because we know we want to do it, and then whatever's left in next year's budget, we could budget all of it or some of it and kind of save up the way we had
Right.
for like a fire truck, and by the time it's actually ready to go, we could put the final piece in 2 years from now and just kind of do it that way.
so
I agree with-
that's what I need to know is, does the council want to move forward with replacing the bridge?
I agree with Mike.
I think we have to replace the bridge. I think that I don't think we have a choice. It's kind of a connection to the different neighborhoods. But I just wondered, a resident, and Heather, I think you and I spoke about it briefly, a resident had suggested that the county has some of these bridges available that they, kind of temporary or something. I'm not sure. So maybe we can reach out to the county and see if they have something temporary that we can at least use.
The League of Municipalities in a recent magazine covered prefab bridges, and, they're really encouraging it. And the bipartisan infrastructure law that was just passed has several grants for building bridges. Maybe there's something we'd be eligible for.
Okay.
Did they mean that literally, or building bridges?
Building bridges to somewhere this time.
I don't know if it's that kind of bridge, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's a small bridge.
It is.
Building bridges, okay.
So, yes, I'll reach out to the county and see if they have something like that.
Okay, great.
Okay, the next one is under policy, window displays for vacant storefronts.
So I just wanted to make sure, because I sent this to Mr. Rogers, I just wanted to make sure we were okay moving forward with those couple of changes we made, which was that, and I don't see it now in front of me, that I think the one was that there was a period of time when the window could be covered if there was construction going on. I think that was one of them.
Yeah.
And the
In
other.
the form that I see, that was given a packet, I didn't see that wording.
No.
So I think we can cover that.
Yeah, I think I typed it in and then I sent it to you today to look at. So just so everybody's aware, because we'll try and introduce that. So once we have the final, you'll see it before our next meeting.
And I do just have one other change, which is suggest that, as you look at the proposed new section, B, where it says vacant or closed stores with block windows and unmaintained storefront windows displays attract commercial streetscapes, and then there's a colon. That's a policy statement. It's not
Yeah.
a requirement, so it really shouldn't be.
Okay.
No.
So I think you might want to list that just as requirements or something similar to that.
Yes.
So that it just gets designated as these are the requirements. So I would suggest taking that out.
Okay.
And as Councilman Vagianos mentioned, people usually use that brown paper on the windows after a lease has been signed. So I haven't seen your suggestion, but if necessary, I would add on A3, at the end of, window glass shall not be frosted or covered with paper, curtains, or other material that block the window or display unless a lease has been signed.
I think I did put it during the time that.
I'll check what you have written.
Right, so maybe just give it to Pam also to make sure that she's comfortable with the language.
Okay. And then another thing we had been discussing is that wallpapery stuff that you see on the window, like for the 125th anniversary, that's really nice. And we want to encourage that in empty storefronts, right? But if you look at the code section that is cited in B1, that says any kind of display has to be a foot back from the window. And so I was concerned that this section would preclude that kind of wallpaper on the window. And so you, Susan, had suggested that we take out the clause consistent with window display requirements of 190-122.
Okay.
And then, in the registration form, we were not going to ask people, do you agree to such and such and such and such? We were going to make them say, I agree to this.
Right.
So those changes weren't made. And I have...
The registration form, I mean, it's the point that I think we discussed last time, that you don't agree to, but the registration form is in the ordinance, so we can make that change outside of getting
Right.
the ordinance straightened out so that we can get the
Okay.
ordinance at least ready for the first reading of this week.
Okay. And while I'm in favor of this, I just see how some of the property owners treat their property, and I'm a little concerned that what we are thinking of here as a lovely way to fill the space may not be what they're really interested in doing and taking time to create, and maybe what we need to do is give them support. And that brings me to the question of, can the Ridgewood Arts Council work with the landlords and help them? Can we offer them that?
So actually, we did that when I was council liaison to the Arts Council, and I don't recall the years that was. Anyway, so we actually did the outreach to say, can we just come in and do this absent an ordinance? And we had stuff to even do, and wasn't not well received because there was no requirement. But I think that first I have to apologize. I went to look, I think when I was making the changes when we last discussed this, I didn't save them, so I couldn't find what we were talking about, so sorry. But I think that one of the things we did say was it can go to spec committee on the planning board, just so that everybody's on the same page. So we can go to the Arts Council and ask for their assistance. I think it's a good idea. And then let there be just a review by that committee.
Yeah, that would be outside of the ordinance.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And spec stands for what?
It's a spec committee is just something that's not, it's kind of doesn't require permits or anything. It's like just a review committee on simple, it's like spec committee just on visual type things.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you would say spec is, Matt?
I suppose it's a word you can use for it, sure.
Yeah.
And there's no charge for that, right?
No, we just meet monthly and whatever's in front of.
Okay.
It's just kind of like it meets specification. I guess that spec is kind
So
of how it's your
are you going to
specification.
require that to be done, though? That they go to the spec committee for approval?
I think we did it with the blade sign. We did add that into the blade sign.
I'm just saying,
ordinance.
if you're going to require it, it has to be in the ordinance.
Right. Well, we could maybe let it go just to the Arts Council. Maybe it could be a little bit less formal.
I think that with the form, you're establishing a protocol for a review of the registration form and the application to do what they want to do with their storefronts. If you're going to use a particular committee or a particular review process, that has to be spelled out in the ordinance so that everybody knows that that's what they're going to have to go through. Unless you anticipate difficulty with some of these people coming through with something that is not conforming to the ordinance and they want what might be better called a waiver of certain aspects of this ordinance, not a variance but a waiver, then you don't necessarily need a committee to do it.
Right.
But
I'm not envisioning this being so cumbersome. We just
Right.
want to get those empty cavernous storefronts to be prettied up. And if we can't get, we just want to have some level of cooperation. And people can do it without all of this. Maybe it's just too much. But as long as you have an ordinance in place, maybe they could use their own imagination, but maybe that would be scary, I don't know.
Yes. In the building I lived in New York City, the storefront on the first floor put in artwork that was a corpse on a lab table with a rat eating the corpse.
Oh, God.
It was horrible. And they thought it was art.
I know, well, art is very,
It's the eye of the beholder.
Art can be.
So I'm just a little anxious.
All right, so we'll clean this up before, and before the introduction, maybe we can work on it, Pam?
Sure.
And then we'll give it to Matt and try and clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is about the A-frame signs in the Central Business District. So we have an ordinance for temporary portable signs. There are two styles. One is an A-frame sign. It's internally weighted, and the other is a Springer sign with a heavy rubber base. Both have overall dimensions of 24 inches by 36 inches. At the time that the ordinance was adopted, the village council preferred the rubber base sign. It's a nicer style. That style and type of sign is no longer being made. So there is a new style of sign. The right-on area of the sign is 24 by 36 inches, but the base makes the bottom slightly wider. The code enforcement officer has searched various websites for signs and has previously stated it cannot find the previous type of sign available for sale. This new type of sign allows for marker or chalk writing, which is conducive to outdoor use. Despite the fact that the new type of sign has slightly larger dimensions, it is reasonable replacement for the previous type of sign. So the recommendation is to amend the ordinance so that this new type of sign will be acceptable.
I am recusing myself from this discussion.
Okay.
So do we have a picture of what this thing actually looks
Yes,
like?
the last page.
Oh, this is it.
What is the material that these side supports in the bottom are made of?
It's like wood, maybe.
Well, I don't want to guess.
No, I'm not sure if it's wood or if it's,
I think it's plastic.
yeah, plastic,
PVC.
I was going to say.
You know, when we did the A-frame signs, I have to share that I envisioned us using pretty chalkboards that had like an old vintagey look to them that kind of were consistent with historic Central Business District. And the signs that we see, I mean, some of them are nicely done, but even like a chalkboard you can get that makes it look old. I mean, these are not as attractive. So maybe CBDAC can do a little research and look at what kind of different signs are available. I do have to admit, I like I love the chalk markers. They're fun, they're colorful. But I just think the signs, we really want something to be consistent with the aesthetics of a historic Central Business District and not kind of just there, right? I don't know.
There are current places that would like to use these signs, but can't because they're not going to use the A-frame. They want this weighted type of sign. So
I didn't hear you, Heather.
I said there are places now that are waiting for approval to put these types of signs out because they're not going to do an A-frame sign. So they're looking to see what we can do for this weighted type of sign. And it's going to take, obviously, 2 months and 20 days to introduce and adopt and make an ordinance effective. So whatever we can do to
Expedite.
And I'm
would be
actually okay
helpful.
if we just look for it ourselves, Pam. I mean, it doesn't have to go to CBDAC. We can just look and see,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
what else is out there.
What company is this?
I'll give you the link.
Okay.
Or maybe, Pam, maybe it's something that, you know, your Project Pride. So, I mean, I think that we want to work so hard to make everything look nice. And then we start to put this kind of stuff there that's not consistent with that visual.
It's not horrible.
No, it's not horrible. I mean, we'd have to maybe see this in color also. I mean,
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, if it
you know,
was wood,
color.
it would probably
Yeah,
work.
I mean, the black and white image doesn't do much for it.
Right, in color, it looks nicer. It does.
And I just want to say, I don't think anybody can actually write that neatly with those chalk markers. So that's also not what you would be seeing. I actually think the chalk markers are a little softer and prettier than that. So, just saying.
Okay. So, whatever that can be done, let me know. Okay. The last item is accepting a donation of a wind sculpture titled Nebula, and it's in the children's sensory garden and butterfly garden. And this is a donation from the Hallaby family. So they do not have any current applications before boards or committees, so that will be to accept that.
Okay. Any questions? Very nice.
It really is a lovely sculpture, and it's always changing. So I think it is something that elicits wonder in children.
All right. The one thing we don't have, actually, we should do, number 10 should actually be number 9, is the review of next week's meeting before public comments.
All right.
Okay. So we have no proclamations. We have no ordinances for introduction or adoption for Ridgewood Water. For resolutions for Ridgewood Water, we have award of contract, GIS software support, Title 59 approval, and award of contract for water billing and data collection services, award of contract under state contract, TV monitors for skater room and Ridgewood Water headquarters, award contract under state contract, water quality testing equipment and supplies, award professional services contract, engineering services for raw water mains phase 1, award professional services contract, evaluation of car water treatment plant, authorized change order, elevator construction, Ridgewood Water headquarters, authorized agreement with PSE&G Energy Saver Direct Install Program, request Governor and New Jersey State Legislature to commit additional funding to water infrastructure, approve order of billing categories for application of payments to Ridgewood Water, ordinances for introduction. We have amend Chapter 190, Land Use and Development, for the window displays for vacant storefronts. And we have the Land Use and Development, maybe for the portable signs. I don't know. And then the shared loading zones will have to be August. We don't have that ready yet. The public hearings are amending Chapter 265, Vehicles and Traffic, for time limit parking, overtime parking, and repeat parking, and the bond ordinance for the purchase of the recycling truck. Resolutions awarding contractor, respirator fit tester for the Health Department for Emergency Services, award contract SCADA system upgrade for the Water Pollution Control Facility, awarding a contract for infrared asphalt surface and sidewalk repair, and a Title 59 approval, award contract restoration and staining of the Leicester Stable, authorized change order repair of copper roof gutter at the taxi stand, award contract under Bergen County contract, painting of Village Hall facade, award additional funding for under Sourcewell contract, rubber tire front end loader and 48-inch bucket, for award contract under National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance, licensing fees and service for security system software, authorize additional funding, planning consultant services for the Green Acres diversion, amendment to recreation and open space inventory, authorize change order to contract for tree removals in various locations, authorize a credit towards significant sewer discharge bill, authorize change order agreement with PSE&G, Energy Saver Direct Install Program, authorize execution of memorandum of agreement with Bergen County for lead poisoning services, authorize execution of agreement shared payment for lightning detection system, Ridgewood Board of Education, authorize submission of NJDOT grant paving North Monroe Street Phase 2, and accept donation wind sculpture for children's sensory and butterfly garden. Any of those off of the consent agenda? Okay.
Good.
Thanks.
All right. With that, we're going back to public comment, not to exceed 5 minutes per person. Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Hey, Siobhan Graham, Winograd, 274 Ivy Place. Happy belated 4th. So in 2021, during the budget meeting, it became apparent to the public that there was a problem with the SHPO plan with Shedler. And During that time, there was some public expression that there was a need for clarity. Many letters were written through the course of 2021. In December here, after what I would categorize as an unfortunate meeting for us all, I was promised a statement of clarity on the current status of Shedler. I was also given assurances that the website would be updated, and that has not occurred. On top of that, recently, and I don't know the date because I couldn't find it, and there's reasons why, there was an 8-minute, what I kind of call like historical narrative provided. It was very quick. Several council members said they couldn't really take in all the detail by the village manager. And again, the public was given assurances that that would be posted to the website, and that has not occurred. I don't want to belabor it, but there's got to be a better way. You know, it's a $7 million project. Our kids have been displaced. Kids are getting hurt on other fields, literally hurt because the fields are not prepared for the use that they're receiving. And I think when people write letters, they expect a response. And I think when they're given assurances as a public meeting after, again, unfortunate statements, it's 6 months later. It was December 2021. It's now July, and there's been nothing. Added to that, during this time, while looking for information, it was, kind of unearthed that the minutes are not updated as quickly as they should be, and this is a source of confusion. I know that the League of Women Voters, of which I'm a member but not representing, wrote a letter that many minutes were past due on the website, making public information really hard to follow. I think the expression fishing expedition was used. When I went to look for the historical statement, thinking, I could just get it from the minutes, I was somewhat upset to see that the minutes haven't been published since mid-April, which I just don't understand in today's day and age. We are paying a third party. We're paying a third party taxpayer dollars to generate these minutes. I think with the uproar of where are the minutes, why are they not there, there should have been more meaningful steps to make that information, close the gap on the ones that were missing. And I don't mean ones, I mean dozens that were missing. I noticed tonight at a work session, you're not approving minutes, which seems silly because you're all assembled and there's no other reason why you couldn't take the most recent minutes, approve them now, and make them publicly available. Either way, I'm hoping when I sit down, rather than shake your head at me, you will address these concerns. Seriously, there's been a lot of public expression. People are looking for information, not answers that they want to be in lockstep with what they want. And two, I think the minutes in the agenda is somewhat a terrible situation. You had a major organization come in here, offer suggestions, and they're still not on there. And when you're someone like me who wants to come here and say, okay, it was December 2021, and then the statement was made, I can't find that. I can't find it because the minutes are not there. And the last thing is the website, in addition to that, is misleading because if you click on the agenda and minutes tile, it just takes you to future meetings. So I really think that the public has waited a very long time for an update on a $7 million project. In addition to that, I think it causes an enormous amount of public confusion when people go to find information and the public site doesn't have it. And added to that, judge me for all you want for talking about feelings at a personal council meeting. It feels pretty bad to write all these letters, come here, be yelled at, and given statements that there would be a statement of clarity issued. The press picked it up, and then 7 months later, I'm back. So I'm really hopeful someone will say something. And of course, if you need anything, I would love to help. One of the things when we did Observer Corps was that if the village just published the minutes in a timely fashion, the Observer Corps and all this outside influence of observing what was going on here would go away because the public would actually know. And I hope all of you agree that if minutes, are not approved from April, that's not such a good thing. So thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Boyd A. Loving, 342 South Irving Street. Hope you all have a good evening this evening. Here to talk a little bit about Graydon. Sorry that I couldn't have been here earlier when everybody else was here, but my grandson's over at my house. We got back from Graydon, and he was a little bit tired, so decided to spend some time with him. I have to say that members of the public truly appreciate everything that the council is doing to try to make Graydon better. just as we appreciated your efforts in 2020 when you went against the recommendation of the staff who wanted to keep the pool closed and the council insisted that the pool be open. So we really appreciate everything that the council is doing to try to make things better. However, the staff doesn't seem to be in the same boat that you are, and that's what really bothers us. Some examples tonight. I remember that Ms. Bigos and the pool manager were here and said that nobody would be chased off the beach. But yet it seemed as though everybody who was here earlier this evening said that they were chased off the beach at 6 o'clock, when I believe that it was said that they would be able to remain on the beach until 7 o'clock. Ms. Bigos didn't seem to understand how or why that happened, but the fact remains is that the public was told one thing and something else, in fact, happened. So we would appreciate if the council tries to get to the bottom of that, because nobody else seems to be able to get to the bottom of those sorts of things. We appreciate that the council, and I believe that the mayor herself, is talking about doing this Recycle Coach app to give more up-to-date information, real-time information as to what's going on. It is absolutely absurd that you have to drive over there and look at the color of the flag or look at postings that are made on paper. Why this can't be put on the web or some sort of electronic method be used to provide this information is just mind-boggling to me. The last time I looked, this is the year 2022, not 1950. So let's get it together. Thank you, Mayor, for trying to make this all happen. There was a lot of talk about what's been put on social media, advertisements, etc. As I was sitting in the back of the room when I came in, I scrolled back in the Facebook page of Parks and Recs. There was one ad placed in 2022 for lifeguards. One ad, March 17th. That was it. March 17th, scroll back yourself, one ad. Maybe there's some confusion on the part of the staff as to what social media is. Perhaps the manager can work with Ms. Bigos and get a list of social media sites that ads could be placed on. People I know don't like to hear about the Ridgewood blog, but that's one. Ms. Winograd runs a Facebook page. That's two. There are two other Facebook pages in addition to that, 3 and 4. I don't think I've seen an ad on any of them. So can we get that together and have a list of where these things are going to be placed in the future so that that's all taken care of? Besides all those things that were discussed, this is the third time I've been here to discuss the fact that we still need to get that ordinance about grading straightened out so people aren't thrown off the beach in off-season. I was hoping it would be on the agenda tonight. I realize you only have one work session each month during the course of the summer, but if we can get that straightened out so that when the season ends this year, people know that it is a public park and they are allowed to be in the public park, and any language in the ordinance as it is now that the manager has the right to do this or that needs to be straightened out so people can stay there. My last comment does not concern grading. It concerns the fact that I think you're all still being raked over the coals, and I think Mr. Seaton was getting at this point today with the $18,000 change order for the sump pump that's required in the elevator shaft. Why doesn't a contractor who does business in the state of New Jersey and builds municipal buildings know that he is supposed to put a sump pump in that? He should have eaten that. The taxpayers shouldn't have had to eat that $18,000 charge. I would go back and look at his contract and force him to pick up that $18,000. How he could not know that he's supposed to put a sump pump in the bottom of an elevator shaft, again, boggles my mind. Why you roll over on those sorts of things, I'll never know. You should approve it. 0 change orders, ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? No? Okay. All right, we're going to close public comment, and real quick, I think we'll pull out the grade-in because that's something we had talked about, but I think it is a park. It is, and it is open off-season.
It is.
I don't think we have to change anything. I think it's just a matter of not kicking people off.
I'll take a look at the ordinance and see what it says. I
it.
don't think it says it's closed, so.
And I guess we should go back and look at the contract with the contractor because I would not know that a sump pump is required in an elevator.
Standard.
if it's standard fare and we have a change order because somebody messed up, then we have to go back and talk to the person who messed up, because if you're getting an elevator installed and it's X amount of dollars for what is required, then why are we in the middle of this then? Matt, you're shaking your head?
Well, it's-
No, I'm agreeing. If it's a code requirement or some type of an obligation that a contractor has with regard to the installation of an elevator shaft, it should have been included in the original quote, and it may be a question legally as to whether or not the quote that was given made a request for all those different things, and you have to look at that from the inception. But it makes perfect sense that if it's obligated, should have been included, it shouldn't be a change order.
So let's take a look at that. And Heather, we should get that, I know we talked about it, getting that historical information about
We'll
Shriver.
put it on there.
I think those were just notes and it had
Correct.
to be cleaned up, so that's fine. Okay.
I do have one inquiry here. With regard to minutes, why do we only approve them at public meetings?
We can only take action at public meetings. So if we were to do it at work sessions, every work session, we'd have to call a special public meeting. We'd have to have a separate set of minutes for that special public meeting. So that's why.
And just for the record, our minutes are up to date. They may not be posted, and they should be posted on the website. I'm not dismissing that
yes.
concern, but they are up to date in terms of approval, and they are available as required in the village clerk's office and are operable, correct? So we should get everything up on the website that's been approved, but just for the record, that's how that works in any event. So let's take a motion to adjourn.
Before we do, I'm just curious, are we approving any minutes next week at our meeting?
Yes.
Yes, you were sent minutes by both Eileen and myself.
Got it.
Okay.
So what will that bring us up to if the last ones that approved were April?
No, that's not, April is the last that's on the
Wait,
website, but
one at a time,
what's been approved and what's on the website are two different things. We're approved to date. We're probably approved through May, and probably probably May. But you have to wait for the minutes to come in, and what's approved may not necessarily be up on the website yet. That's all I'm saying. So approval, and because what's required is that the minutes are approved in a timely manner and available in the clerk's office for the public, so they can be opened. But in the interim, whatever we're approved, whatever date we have to get to that we've approved thus far should get on the website.
And how long, on average, does it take us after we approve them to get them up on the website?
I mean, for whatever reason, I think we had a little gap. I don't even know, but usually we're pretty quick.
We're usually pretty good. There are times when, it's overlooked, and it should not be. It should not be.
I get that. I'm just curious. On average, April's will be posted when?
Usually by May or June. They should be posted as soon as they're approved.
So within a few weeks?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So when do we think we might have May and June posted?
Well, why don't we probably
Well,
haven't
June
approved-
hasn't
we
been
couldn't have
approved
approved
yet.
Got it.
June's, right. So everything's
May,
always up.
some may
Right.
have been approved, and that should be on. So that should be put on immediately. Anything that's
good.
been approved should be on immediately.
Great.
And so, like I said, sometimes things happen, but the bottom line is what's required is they're available in the clerk's office.
Oh,
And so
listen,
the
I understand what's
yeah.
required. We want to get information out to the public.
Absolutely.
And what's required is a minimum standard.
Right,
So
and
we want to try and exceed that minimum.
Of course, and that's what we're, that's what we want to do. But when things happen, the opportunity still exists for someone to get those minutes that have been approved but aren't on the website because it's a phone call away or an email away, and if somebody's looking for something. So, with that, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I like your book, too. too.